In this section, we'll use a consulting-style lens to evaluate enterprise AI readiness. The goal is simple: turn AI risk, controls, governance, and operating realities into a clear transformation path leaders can act on. We've established two key points. AI changes the enterprise stack, and unmanaged adoption creates real risk. Now we connect those ideas through evaluation. Instead of scattered signals, models, workflows, shadow tools, and data exposure, we look for clear transformation priorities that governance can act on. Risk now extends beyond applications and infrastructure. It moves through prompts, agents, data, vendors, and decisions. A readiness methodology turns those scattered concerns into evidence leaders can use to prioritize action. This life cycle is the path from evidence to action. Start by discovering which AI use cases, tools, data flows, owners, and control points actually exist. Then assess whether current controls are mature enough for AI-era risk. Next, prioritize gaps by business impact, severity, compliance exposure, and feasibility. Finally, transform by defining the target architecture, governance model, roadmap, metrics, and control improvements. The outcome is modernization, not just a better assessment document. AI readiness works as a balanced system, not a single security checklist. Identity and access ask who or what is allowed to act. Security asks how AI-specific threats are detected and contained. Governance and compliance define accountability, evidence, and auditability. Trust and operations test whether the environment remains reliable under real-world pressure. Across these domains, the assessment looks at adequacy, maturity, ownership, monitoring, and transformation need, because a gap in one area can quickly weaken the whole model. To make the assessment useful, each domain is judged through the same lens. Are controls adequate for AI-era risks, not just traditional technology risks? How mature are they in design, implementation, measurement, and improvement? Who owns decisions, escalations, and outcomes? And can the organization monitor issues continuously while identifying where transformation is needed? Common dimensions turn scattered opinions into comparable maturity signals across functions, regions, and systems. Identity is one of the first boundaries AI changes. Access decisions no longer apply only to employees and applications. They also apply to agents, bots, service accounts, model APIs, and machine identities. The evaluation question is whether IAM can enforce least privilege across all of them. That includes inventorying machine identities, rotating credentials, monitoring behavior, and decommissioning access. For privileged AI actions, approval, logging, and review are essential. MFA alone may not be enough. Adaptive, context-aware controls become increasingly important. Traditional IAM was built around people: who they are, what role they hold, and which applications they can open. iSystems add a different control challenge. Agents can call tools, query data, trigger workflows, and act on someone's behalf. As a result, identity governance must become more dynamic and policy-driven, with separate controls for agent identity, delegated authority, approval requirements, and monitoring for unusual access chains or autonomous privilege escalation. Security evaluation asks whether existing controls can see the AI-specific attack surface. Prompts need monitoring for injection, leakage, and policy bypass. Vector stores need encryption, access control, segmentation, and retrieval filtering. Model calls, tool use, agent actions, and user activity all need telemetry. The key test is whether that signal reaches SIEM and SOC workflows, so teams can detect abnormal behavior, block misuse, and respond before sensitive data is exposed. Operational readiness begins by making that telemetry usable. Capture prompts, users, models, retrieve documents, tool actions, and policy decisions. Normalize those records into SIEM, SOAR, UEBA, and case management so analysts see one timeline. Then engineer detections for prompt injection, jailbreaks, data extraction, and unusual retrieval patterns. Limit agents with least privilege, boundaries, rate controls, and approvals. Finally, update playbooks to investigate AI misuse, contain compromised agents or knowledge bases, and feed lessons back into stronger controls. Governance evaluation asks whether AI is managed as an enterprise capability, not a collection of isolated experiments. Every model, agent, dataset, vendor, and use case needs an owner and a place in the inventory. From there, systems are classified by risk, criticality, sensitivity, and regulatory exposure. Clear decision rights define who can approve experiments, deployments, major changes, and retirement. That structure is what makes AI adoption auditable, consistent, and accountable. Compliance evaluation asks a practical question. If a regulator challenged an AI outcome tomorrow, could you prove what happened? That requires an audit trail of inputs, prompts, models, retrieved data, outputs, and approvals. Evidence should be collected automatically across design, testing, deployment, monitoring, and change review. Obligations are then mapped to controls, owners, artifacts, and reporting cadence. For high-risk systems, expect stronger documentation, validation, monitoring, and independent review. Consider a convincing video call from the CFO requesting an urgent supplier payment. The risk is not only whether the face looks real, it is whether the decision process depends on one fragile signal. Strong trust evaluation layers identity proof, content provenance, digital signatures, liveness checks, and out-of-band confirmation. It also treats failed verification as an enterprise risk, so patterns of impersonation and deception are monitored before they become major losses or compromise decisions. Operations evaluation turns AI governance from a point-in-time review into a managed operating cycle. Monitor systems continuously for performance, drift, misuse, policy violations, cost, quality, and reliability. Connect those signals to governance KPIs, ownership, and remediation accountability. The final output is not just a list of findings. It is a prioritized roadmap. Stabilize urgent risks in the next 90 days. Standardize controls over 3 to 12 months, and transform the operating model for lasting business value. Readiness is more than a control review. It is an enterprise accountability exercise. Use the 6 domains to expose gaps, set priorities, and turn findings into roadmaps, KPIs, evidence, and operating model changes. Next, we build on this with governance models, lifecycle oversight, and clear accountability.